Hey everyone, today I'm talking about memory, which is the overarching theme topic of my project. So why did I choose to do memories? I came across this idea when one of my teachers asked us to show the best moment of our life, and we ended up showing up with photos with friends and family, but I realized maybe the best moments of our life are not represented on a photo. How can we remember these memories and share them with people? And I was trying to focusing on how can we bring those tangible artifacts and more like multi-sensory experience in this digital-based form that we are familiar with, and I come up with this how can we facilitate the recollection of memories. So I was doing a mind map of how we the experience of remembering, and I was reading some papers and I found out there's one paper talking about how to design for recollecting memories, and they pointed out the significance of triggers to memories, which bring me to the process of thinking about how do we actually remember. And so it comes from a trigger that might be in both tangible and intangible form that provoke the process of recollecting pieces of memory, which eventually build a story. But we had to repeat this process over and over again in order to enforce a memory, turn a working memory into a permanent memory. So we had to remember to remember. And sometimes when we try to put these pieces together, the experience differs over time. Some intangible triggers might get lost in the process, which alter the memory itself. So I changed the how memory a little bit. Now it's how memory facilitate the recollection of memories through the reconstruction of a story. And I was thinking about this thing that's like a capsule machine, which will give hints or prompts that's in a more abstract form, which will spur the recollection of triggers and construction of the story based on the segment of a memory a person can actually remember. So it's I thought about analog form and the digital form, which will most likely be like a photo platform. And I was going through this journey I will have when I will remember. And then I thought about photo would be a good medium for collecting data because it has the most information, and it's more definite and long-lasting, as we all have a lot of photos on our phones these days anyways. And then I was going through how would I go through my photos and what are the opportunities, and I pointed out these as potential features that I can build on top of the digital memory platform that I will be exploring. And I found out the new memory features on iOS photo app, which is AI generated, and it's just machine learning generating all the photos with similar data or happen in the same day, and it collects and combines them in the photo album. But my problem with it is that it might not organize the data as the way I want to remember. And I was also thinking about what are the other information that we need to have in order to trigger memory. So I was looking into journaling apps, and which is mostly multimedia, and they have various input, and it's mostly for self-reflection purpose. So thinking about combining a journaling app to the existing photo memory feature, and I came up with this. Oh, no. shows how would you organize photos to memory album. And you can go through from timeline, and then they just combine them to a cluster, and then they will ask you to do some quizzes on the information, and then it brings you to other related memories that you collected. And eventually there will be a feature that you can pick a random memory from what you have, and you'll go through it. And then I was thinking about all these aspects of memory that will be collected, and maybe you can also use like random memory as a lock screen in order to remind you of something. But then I was going through the process, and I was thinking about how can I expand it to other forms that's other than that's not merely on the phone. So I was I changed the how maybe a little bit, and I started to brainstorm. So I came up with this experience that's about it's to discover how haptic sense triggers memory, and how people associate this particular sense to memory versus multi-senses, where I ask people to put on a blindfold. And this is the process they will go through, where they will blindfold themselves, and they will give them some objects, and they will pick up an object and describe how they feel about it and what it reminds them of. And I did some testing with people, and eventually I will send the receipt through email, and you send a receipt. And I found out that a lot of them ended up having similar experience or like memory that's triggered by one object, and they are more drawn to the object that they're more familiar to. And also I found out the question I asked, what are you thinking about, what memory does it bring you, is somehow not what I expected them to answer it. I want to bring a story instead of asking them to describe something really vaguely. After that, I think my next step would be reconsider the questions and objects that's used in the experience and explore.
All right, here's the tranche.
Is this the loo time?
Yeah, so if we can, yes, doable.
Am I up?
Yeah, you'll be up at 2.
After everybody.
So we've got a 5.